Hi there, this is the Dogecoin Wyckoff analysis session. Last week we asked the question, or we see a phenomenon that Dogecoin is defending a key support level. And this time, since we see that it seems to have defended that level, would it be really heading towards the new distribution cycle, meaning a new buying climax? So let's quickly take a look. Here, in the weekly chart, we see that like we have put in the last point of support tag over here. I will still keep it right there because the key part is this green cross over here. It seems like the bulls and the bears found an equilibrium at this position. This level at around 23 cents 50 is more or less the same level where the automatic rally over here back in mid-May closed for almost 2 weeks above, just a bit above this white box. So this white box is the long-term playground zone where most of the time Dogecoin has been trading within this range. So closing above this as well as above this trend line, let me change it to a dash line that will be consistent across all the sessions. So coming to this, staying above these two lines is very key or as an indication that Dogecoin may be heading towards a next distribution cycle. So last time it happened in a similar sense back in September 2024. So if after this little cross or even this one, if there are continuous climb along this trend line, much like what happened over here, so there is a likely chance when the volume catches up as well that Dogecoin would come up and test maybe the green or even the light blue level, similar to what happened back in late 2024 as well as beginning of 2025. So here the big picture is still positive. If I check the Bollinger Band corner squeeze, the weekly doesn't have a squeeze at the moment. Last time it happened back in late June. That's when we have the surge to the sign of strength. And now on the weekly it doesn't show that sign yet. However, if we go to the daily, here previously we put in two tags asking, is it just an LPSY and the price would come back down, or would we see an upthrust for the daily? As of now, looking at the volume, it's not the lowest, I would say, because if we look at what happened back in early July, that's fairly low. It's like only less than 50% of what we are having right now. This bar over here, this red volume bar over here, if we look at the candle, even though it seems like there's quite a bit of selling when the price reached the red key level, that's about 25 cents. That's also where the buying climax and the second test was back in May, as well as this second test over here back in late July. So it's, I would say, normal to see some sort of selling over there because some people might have got in, and once the price gets close to that level, they sell. But looking at the volume climbing, not volume, I mean the price climbing over here, we might as well check the Bollinger Band corner squeeze, and a squeeze, I would consider this is happening already because the one line is within the orange channel. The other purple line is basically almost touching the orange right now. So if it trades for 1 or 2 more days, definitely they are going to cross. And this seems to be the, let's say, the moment that's coming where we will potentially see an upthrust, if it, especially when it aligns to what's happening over here. Like if it really climbs from here to a distribution, so that may mean we'll see potentially a PSY. Last time when it climbed, all the weekly candles were green, but it doesn't have to be that way all the time. Sometimes during the PSY period there can be red candles, so it fluctuates a bit before getting to the buying climax. So whether this time we'll see all green candles, if that's the case, that means it will shoot up all the way to the buying climax. And in the daily chart, that means it will be a pretty high upthrust somewhere. And if it really comes down, like not all green candles for PSY, a scenario 2 with a bit of red candles, that will be some price retracement and horizontal trading, and eventually to the buying climax. That's the upthrust of the distribution for the daily. So the daily chart will look a little bit different from the weekly, but that's how I see that it's the possibility of this unfolding in maybe this week or next, especially for the daily chart. For the weekly, it can be a bit tricky, because even after this, if it climbs to this level, it can do some horizontal trading and check the red key level before it really climbs. So long term, if this is really an accumulation cycle and it's really near the end, then a higher possibility is that we'll see a distribution cycle coming. So let's see whether that's the case, and finger crossed for the bulls. Maybe good news is on the way